Every single time you sign your name or just scribble a quick note, you're leaving behind this tiny, unique trail of clues. Most of the time, who cares, right? But what happens when a signature on a will, or maybe a number on a check, suddenly comes into question? Well, that's when those little clues become the center of an intense investigation. So today, we're going to dive deep into the fascinating world of forensic document examination and uncover some of the secrets that are hiding in plain sight.
Okay, picture this, a multi-million-dollar contract, and it all comes down to one little signature. It looks pretty good, but something just feels a little off. So how can you really tell the difference? How do you distinguish between a signature that's totally genuine, maybe just written in a hurry, and a masterful fake that was created specifically to fool you? Well, that's the big question we're digging into today.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to follow the exact path an investigator would take. First, we'll start with what's called a document of doubt. Then we'll get into the writer's unique identity. After that, we'll see how science can reveal some unbelievable hidden secrets. And finally, we'll look at what happens when the trail goes cold. Let's crack this case open. Okay, first things first. Our investigation always starts with the document itself. This is our crime scene, a piece of paper that someone, somewhere, has a serious problem with. So what even is a question document? And there's a good reason that definition is so broad. A question document isn't just a possible forgery. It's basically any document that's part of some kind of legal puzzle. We could be talking about anything from a ransom note, a historical letter, a business contract, or even just a few numbers scribbled on a lottery ticket. If its origin or authenticity is up for debate, it's a question document. Yeah, and I know what you're probably thinking. Bad checks, right? But believe me, the stakes can get way, way higher. Document examination is absolutely crucial in a shocking number of cases. We're talking about authenticating a suicide note in a murder investigation, verifying a signature on a will that could decide who inherits a family fortune, or even unmasking some incredibly elaborate art forgeries. I mean, these are some seriously heavy questions landing on an examiner's desk. Their entire job is to find the answers hidden in the ink and paper. Just think about it. Analyzing one little note, like the ones you see here, could be the one thing that determines whether a fortune is inherited correctly or if a murderer gets away with it. All right, so we've got our crime scene, the document. Now let's dig into the evidence. What is it about handwriting that makes it so reliable? Well, it all boils down to a few key ideas that prove your handwriting is basically as unique as your fingerprint. It's pretty cool. Okay, so there are three core principles here, and they're the bedrock of all handwriting analysis. First up, uniqueness. Give me enough of someone's writing, and it's a fact. No two people on Earth write exactly the same. Second, and this one's so important, variation. Your own signature is never perfectly identical. There's always this natural, subtle difference. And third, and this one's great, skill limit. You just can't fake being a better writer than you actually are. If you have clumsy printing, you can't just suddenly bust out some elegant flowing cursive. And this brings us to a really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive idea in this field. You'd think two signatures that are absolutely identical, perfect carbon copies, would be proof they're real, right? Nope, it's actually a huge red flag. Why? Because a forger is often tracing or trying so hard to perfectly copy a signature that they get rid of all that natural rhythm and flow, the very things that prove it's real. So get this, and this is the main takeaway here. When it comes to handwriting, it's the imperfection that proves it's the genuine article. But sometimes just looking at the handwriting isn't going to cut it, especially if a document's been messed with. That's when investigators have to pull out the big guns, the high-tech tools that can find that one smoking gun hidden right in the ink itself. Okay, so think about it. To you and me, black ink just looks, well, black, right? But on a chemical level, there are literally thousands of different formulas out there for black ink. One pen might use a simple carbon-based ink, and another might use this complex cocktail of different dyes. In normal light, you'd never, ever know the difference. So how in the world does an examiner see something that's totally invisible to us? The secret? It's all about light. By looking at a document under different wavelengths of light, like infrared, they can see how different ink formulas absorb and reflect that light in their own unique ways. And this lets them see things that are completely invisible to the rest of us. And this right here is the perfect example. It's just incredible. So look at the left side. It's a check for £80,000. Seems legit, right? But now, look over at the right. When they hit it with infrared light, the ink from that added zero behaves totally differently. It literally vanishes, exposing the fraud for everyone to see. The original 8,000 is right there. Just amazing.
So that science seems pretty much like magic, doesn't it? But we've got to be realistic here. The truth is, forensic document examination has very real limits, and there are plenty of times when an examiner just can't give a straight, definitive answer.
So, is this science foolproof? The short answer? Absolutely not. Its success really hinges on one thing: the quality and the quantity of the evidence they have to work with. An examiner's conclusion is only ever as strong as the documents they're given. There are a bunch of things that can stop an investigation dead in its tracks. Probably the biggest headache today: non-original evidence. Photocopies are an examiner's worst nightmare. You also have to have enough writing to even analyze. You can't tell much from a single X on a page. Oh, and trying to compare a cursive signature to someone's printed notes, it's like trying to compare apples and oranges. It's just not a scientifically sound comparison.
Yeah, let's just stick with photocopies for a second because this is so important. When a document gets copied, a ton of critical data just disappears. You lose all the details about pen pressure, those tiny little hesitations in pen lifts where the writer picked the pen up off the paper. You can't analyze the ink chemistry. A really clever forgery can be completely hidden in a copy. And that is why an examiner will always fight to get their hands on the original document. So where does all this leave us? Well, as we go deeper and deeper into this digital world of emails and e-signatures, the game is changing. Fraud isn't just about ink on paper anymore. Now it's about corrupted data. But the basic challenge is exactly the same. How do we prove something is real? And that leaves us with a really big question for the future. Is all this new technology making fraud easier to commit, or is it just making it a whole lot harder to solve?